para may turing na rape ang pakikipagtalik sa isang minor de edad. Nagpapatrol, Zandro Ochoa.
Napapanahon ng amyendahan ng batas laban sa rape sa bansa para kay Agusan del Norte Representative Lawrence Fortun. Mismong DSWD na kasi ang nagsasabi na tumataas ang bilang ng mga nakararanas ng sexual na pang-aabuso ngayong panahon ng pandemya. Lumusot na sa House Committee on Revision of Laws at Committee on Welfare of Children ang panukala at kabilang dito ang amyenda sa age of consent o edad na makukonsiderang rape ang pakikipagtalik sa minor de edad. Sa kasalukuyang batas, kapag 13 years old pataas, maaaring hindi na makonsiderang statutory rape kung makikipagtalik at isang minor de edad kahit na ito ay pumayag. Sa isinusulong na amyenda sa batas, makakasuhan na ng statutory rape ang sino mang makikipagtalik sa mas bata sa 16 years old kahit na pumayag ito. Pag sinabi natin statutory rape, kahit may consent yan,
Wala pa si Sir.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Okay, system check. Nakadungog muna. Kadunggan man ko, no? Klaro?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Saan yung nakablock? Okay, connection problems. 18.9 ni Hawa. Sa mga nahihina ang signal, mag-alala na ako na rin na ma-monitor sa pila ka Mbps inyong gamit. Mo green po sa mo red. So, don't worry kung mawala yung net. Naman ko kuan. So kindly fill out the attendance na akong gisend sa inyo ha. Kita man no, akong i-share screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So this will be the coverage for the entire lesson for this subject, BA 100 Financial Management. As what you can see, under ULO A, natay overview of the financial system. Puro lang ni siya overview class because this will be discussed in detail na sa inyong subject with finance in the near future. ULO B, that's analysis of financial statements. And for ULO C, this is continuation of the essential knowledge sa financial system. So, since there are 5 areas of finance, murag duha lang ang i-discuss diri as a first YOLO. On the third YOLO, mo na tong continuation katong third to fifth areas of finance. Then last one is the time value of money. Actually, dali lang siya. So, itong button karong gabi is to discuss to you the YOLO A and the YOLO B. So these are the overview. Maguba akong PowerPoint mo, giguba ni Blackboard. Okay, so disregard lang na okay na sa akong PowerPoint. Okay, system check balik, madunggan ba o makita ang PowerPoint before I start?
Yes, sir. Makita, sir.
Makita, sir.
Madunggan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you are 27, so meaning na ay 9 pa nga wala ka kuan ka-join. Nakita kaya nila tanan no nga mag-discuss karon ay mag-klase karon. But anyway, record na ko ni siya ha. And then ako ning ang recording ibutang na ko dito as sa inyong Blackboard LMS. Okay?
Okay, sir.
So I will now start recording. Okay. So let's start with the overview of the financial system. So last time, I let you watch the video of the overview of financial system. As what you can see, there are 5 areas, right? But before that, let's have the meta language. So in order for us to understand the entire subject of finance, let's understand first one by one the jargons of finance. Let's start with finance. As what you can see in the screen, it refers to the basis of funding for a specific financial transaction. So apart from accounting, marketing, that's why there are different majors pod sa business ad. So finance, this is refers on how the organization will conduct a plan in terms of their budget, in terms of their allocation of resources, pila man ang ilang i-budget for this area, pila po ang ilang budget nga cost or expenses for a specific project. So management, in general, it involves employee relations and personnel decisions. So there is a communication between the employers and the employee on how employers handle their employee in terms of the operations, in terms of the resource management, and also this involves planning. So dira mag-start ang success sa company. So diri as a management na ang strategic planning mo nang in each organization, in every organization, makita dyan ninyo na ay mission, vision, goals. So dira na siya involved sa management. Okay? For financial management naman, it is the management of money and other valuables that can easily be converted into cash. Or in other way around, how the organization will make their non-cash assets, because not all, what you call this one, not all cash are liquid, right? Na ay mga cash na to nga either kuan siya, investments, or intangible pa siya nga mga cash, di pa nato siya ma-expect nga mabalik sa to within a month, within a quarter. So there are cashes nga dili pa jud siya what do you call this one, ma-expect within a quarter or it is long term. So how are we going to handle this particular cash para mabalik po siya sa tuwa in return. Dili na siya mabalik in return but there is a return on investment. Apart from cash, na po tayo mga properties, tama? Na po tayo mga assets. Organizations have this, na po yung mga investments. So, diri masulod sa financial management on how the organization will handle their investments, their assets, because this particular non-cash asset, non-cash are also part of the company's profit. Okay? So, like for example, naakay land karon, and in the after, let's just say, after 10 years, balat nimo siya ibaligya, since ang land is nag-appreciate man siya compared sa other tangible assets. So, the company will still earn from that particular land. So, dira na mong sulod si financial management kung saon man nila pag handle nga ang ilahang mga cash and non-cash assets will prosper in the near future and will have a return. Okay? For financial services, these refers to functions provided by organizations that deal with the management of money. This includes financial institutions like the bankers or also the brokers. Brokers nga mo ay naga-handle sa inyo mga investments because we also have this kind of people nga naga-handle sa mga investments. Ang usual ninyo makitaan sa mga salida gani nga ang ilahang mga role dito kay mga brokers sa mga investments nga sila tawagan sa isa ka investors instead nga ang dili daw madungog ang akong boses. How about the others? Madunggan ko.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay po siya, sir.
So, financial services, mo ni siya tong mga functions nga ginabuhat sa mga sa mga bankers, brokers, and others. Okay? So, ang actions nga ginabuhat sa mga financial institutions, mo na yung ginatawag na financial services. Okay, let's continue. For financial system naman, tinawag siyang system because this composed of 5 areas nga combine siya into one, which is called financial system. So this composed of financial intermediation, financial markets, financial instruments, or products. So you will have detailed knowledge of this one in the succeeding lessons or in your finance subject. Okay, so what we are going to discuss is just an overview, since this is only a bridging program. Okay? So, finance, naapod din sa inyong question, I don't know if nagbasa naman sa yung activity. Finance can be identified as the same as money. However, it is so since it is the basis of delivering resources for a company-specific action. Okay, so, as we all know, without money, we cannot move or we cannot even, bisag gamay nga lihok, murag na bayad, no? So even in the organizations, how can they operate business without their capital? Okay, so without money. So this is very essential. So finance, in other way, it's an intangible function or it's an intangible actions or functions in an organization on how they were going to handle the particular money. So how much money will be used, how much money will be spent. So this involves the inflows and the cash flows of, or the outflows of the money. Okay, so balik-balik na siya. That's the definition of finance. Okay, so this is the structure of financial system. As what I have said earlier, this composed of these areas: financial institutions, financial markets, financial instruments, financial service, or the money itself. So each area na po na yung mga corresponding subordinates. Like for financial institutions, we have banking. For another is non-banking. intermediaries, non-intermediaries. So this financial institution will be discussed on the YULO C. So ayaw sa ninyo mo pag worry aning financial markets institutions and instruments. Okay? So mag-focus lang sa atas sa financial management and financial services as of this evening. Let's start. Okay? So, by the way, let's discuss first one by one. Mawala ko tungod kay tingala ko nagkausab-usab gani ang layout. Nagkausab-usab di usab ni Blackboard ang layout. Okay, let's start with the first area, which is financial management. So it deals with decisions that all business firms formulate concerning cash flows, including inflows and outflows. So in order for us to determine how much is the cash beginning and how much is the cash ending, we need to know how much money we spent and how much money ang nisulod sa ato ang company. So meaning, pila ang atong nagasto ug pila pud atong na-earn, na-receive nga money from our clients. That's why this involves with the inflows and outflows. In short, that means for cash flows. For financial services, it refers to functions provided by organizations that deal with the management of money. I'm done with that earlier. So third is financial institutions. So these are institutions doing the vital purpose of guiding finances to individuals or businesses or even in organizations with excess resources or with shortages of resources. So mo niya atong usual gina kuan ginaadtuan if we have our account sa bangko. So these are the financial institutions. For financial markets, monitong sa mga investors, it's a trading floor wherein trading of financial securities, which include of stocks, bonds, and precious metals, and derivatives occur at low transaction costs. Okay? For investments, investment banking is a special division of banks. Mo ni siya tong nagagunit for a big or a large corporation or even governments and other businesses. Okay? Mo yung kalahian there is a number 4 and number 3, but somehow it's related, but it was separated with banks and other financial markets. So murag special ni siya. Like for example, sa government, there is a special bank which is the land bank nga mo'y nag-handle sa ilahang mga capital, sa ilahang mga investment securities, bonds, and others. Okay? So these are the 5 areas. But as of this moment, we will only discuss first financial management and financial services. Okay, so forms of business organizations. Murag gas-gas naman nino because since high school pa nila discuss. But actually, there are 4. I don't know if you're familiar with the 4th organization business, that's cooperative. Okay? But mainly, there are 3 forms of business organization. These are proprietorship. As we know that this proprietorship, it's an independent or solo lang niya ang iyahang business. Okay? So it's an independent business owned and managed by one person. Okay? So, ang advantage ani, kung unlike other form of business, kung mag-away mo, like sa partnership, kung naay mamatay, dissolve dayon ang organization. Pero sa proprietorship, it could be ipamana rin sa imong anak, or sa imong uyab, or bisag asang member sa family. For partnership, it's a business organization. It doesn't mean partner ha, nga dapat duha lang, but it could be 2 or more owners and can operate under various levels of requirements, which ranges from casual, pwede po ka ng mga verbal agreements lang ninyo, to formal arrangement registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. So, para maging authorized mo to open a partnership, it must be registered to SEC, whereby this organization does business. Okay? Corporation naman, it's a lawful body, mo nang gina-compose na sa mga CEO, board of directors, tapos na po yung mga stakeholders and stockholders. So this is a corporation. It is also registered to SEC. Okay? For cooperative mo tong kamo pwede mo magbuhat sa inyong co-op, like for example kamo karon pila mo kabuok 20 na may agreement nga mag-open mo cooperative, unlike sa corporation that it requires a lawful requirements. What else? Kailangan siya na ay CEO, na ay mga board of directors. For a cooperative, pwede siya kanang dili kayo siya formal type like corporation. Na may mutual agreement kung pila inyo hang initial capital, and then every month na may mga contributions, and at the end of the month or at the end of the year na may mga meetings, and then distribution of the dividends sa inyohang na-contribute as a group or as a team. Pila ang inyohang dito kay. Siyempre, sa co-op, pwede mo magpautang, then padugang pud mo interest. So, katong mga interests nga na earn ninyo sa inyong cooperative, that will be distributed as dividends. Depende sa inyong agreement. Pwede nyo na siya distribute at the end of the year, or kung decide na mo nga i-close na inyong co-op, you can distribute that one. So, it's a good thing. It's a good idea po. But it requires trust. Dapat na po loyalty. Dapat na dyan mutual agreements or mga ang decision making ninyo as a team kay delikado. Basig na ay isa nga muhawa na lang niya siya nagagunit sa kwarta. Okay. For cooperative, pwede po siya i-register. Naman na yung ginatawag nga na siya specific organization sa government nga mo yung nag-handle sa wait lang ha. Sorry, nawala ko kanila na nagtawag sa kuha. So, there's specific organizations sa government na nagunit na sa co-op, pero na siya initial requirement kanang moabot pud mo 50. Pero kung kamo lang ang magbuot sa inyong co-op, pwede naman na dili ninyo i-register. Ay lang pud mo pagsaba. Okay? So, that's actually an additional form of business organization. Now, let's have the next slide. Pwede mo moingon po mo. Oh, yes, sir. Kanang lahi radyo lang sa actual class mo nga makita na kung ano yung mga agreements ba. Nga nasabtan nila.
Yes, sir.
Nya di po ta mo makitaan. Okay, nasabtan ba before we proceed?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sabtan, sir.
Nasabtan. Nagguba akong slide ba?
sir.
Sige lang, recorded man siya. Kung saan i-post ito. And then, sa 2 hours na itong klase karon, i-allow ta mo nga mag-answer. Kaya since gidiscuss man ako na siya, ma-answeran na po din itong mga activities, ganun ka itong mga assignments. So that you can use this time nga mag-answer sa mga activities para dili po sa yung 2 hours. Okay? Like for example, sa accounting, kanin financial statements, ato ni siyang answeran niya para ma-discuss po na ko ang answer ganit. Kaysa sige ra mag-answer niya, wa mo kabalon sa tama, wa na-discussan niyo. Walay nindot nga assessment. So next is the ULO B, the analysis of financial statements. Kinsa kay na background diri sa accounting katong nag-ABM? Siguro familiar ni sa inyo ha, but for some kay maglisod og sabot pero paningkamutan nato no nga masabdan sa tanan. Okay,
Ay, 5 ka financial statements, sir.
Yeah. Unsay kalahian sa cooperative and sa partnership, sir? It's different because partnership and corporation is under SEC. Okay? For cooperative, it's nakalimot mangud ko na ako'y actually kauban sa masters nga na-assign sa aning organization. nga nagunit sa cooperative. Okay? Sa partnership man like for example, kinsa mapangalan diri? Si Rhea o si Trisha Harvey Anova gusto nila magtukod og partnership. Tapos ang ilang agreements dapat si Rhea ang ihatag niya kay land. Si Trisha pod ang gusto niya ihatag kay building. Si Harvey gusto niya kwarta, 200k. And then si Nova 200k. So kana nga mga contributions nila upat, tapos nag-agree sila for that contributions, pwede na sila magtukod og partnership. Matukod lang siya, makasugod kag partnership if there is an agreement of both parties. Sila upat nag-agree. For cooperative manggod, it talks only for it talks about money lang, contribution of each team or of each member para makakuha or makagain og profit at the end of the day para na ay profit from the interest nga na-earn sa mga ginautang. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Nawala akong video. Nawala lagi. For karon na balaan na ako na remember na ko nga ang kung sa partnership and corporation ang gagon kay SEC, for cooperative kay CDA. That's Cooperative Development Authority. Okay, that's CDA. Mana siyang naggunit sa cooperative. Katulad mo ng mga multi-co-op, tagong co-op, kuan man gud na siya kanang mag every month na kay contribution, then pwede ka muutang from your contribution or for the total contribution of the cooperative. Unlike sa partnership man, pwede na siya business. Like for example, si SM nakipag-partner kay sa ba yung mga partner ni SM? Kay Watsons, kay sa pa ba? Pero tagyera mo gyapon si SM. Ang tagya sa SM and Watsons same lang man. What else? And other owner, gusto nila mag-kuan og corporation is not about money lang compared sa cooperative. For corporation, it's also about business, service, or a product. For cooperative, it talks only for money. Okay? Okay, let's proceed sa financial statement or the analysis of financial statement. Before that, let's have Sir, pila man jud ng more sa partnership? It could be up to 15. If I'm not mistaken, pwede up to 15 persons sa partnership. Okay, sige, kwansa ko sa mga questions sa Sir, pila man jud ng more. Or up to 50. Search na ako ha. Up to how many? Nagawas po na sa mong exam last time ba?
$50.
15 lang man jud siguro.
Okay. No, I think it's... Wait lang ha. Okay, na ano na ako. It's unlimited.
Okay.
So for partnership, it's unlimited. Okay, so na-research na ako akong last exam sa MBA kay nag-take mangod ko compre last summer. So for partnership, since nakaingon siya 2 or more, meaning ang more dere is unlimited. But for corporation, para makabuhat mo corporation, it requires at least 15. 15 ka tao And then kung nana may 15, pwede na mo magkuha og unlimited nga members for that corporation, for the corporation. Okay? Nasabtan ba?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sige, let's have analysis of financial statement. For meta language, we have financial statement. It's a written record that reflects the activities of business and its financial performance. This composed of the balance sheet. I don't know if you're familiar with the formula. Type na ko Assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. So this particular formula, mo nang nag-composed sa financial statement. For the assets and liabilities, that's balance sheet. For OE or owner's equity, it is the financial statement of the company or of statement of changes in the financial position. Next, financial statement analysis. Ang inyong buhaton mangod sa finance, dili kayo sa same sa trabaho sa accounting. Kailangan pa ninyo i-compute para ma-balance ang assets ug ang liabilities and owner's equity. Ang inyong purpose sa finance nga subject is to analyze kung this company, kaya ba niya bayaran niyang utang? Kaya ba sa imong assets mabayaran imong mga short-term nga mga obligations? Kaya ba sa imong long-term assets mabayaran imong mga long-term nga mga obligations? Or kaya ba sa mga inventory, mga nabilin nga mga inventory sa business, bayaran ang ilang mga obligation? Or profitable ba ang company by the next year, by the next 2 years, and others? So, ang inyong concern lang jud as a finance student is the analysis or the interpretation of the data from the accounting. Okay? So most likely mahitabo lapadan mo og kuan o balance sheet, income statement, yung bahaton ana is to analyze, to interpret. From the balance sheet, from the income statement, you need to assess or to analyze if profitable ba, liquid ba si company, solvent ba, can able to pay the obligations, katong mga ginatawag nato nga mga accounts receivable, has the ability ba nga makabayad jud in the near future or dili na? So what will happen? So mo na yung purpose as a finance student. Ayaw mo kaguol nga na naman na ni accounting because taas jud ang process kung mag-accounting pa mo. Next, profitability. This is actually the main goal of any business, right? It's to maximize profit. And for solvency, a firm can meet its long-term debts and other financial obligation if the company kaya ba niya bayaran niya mga utang, both the short-term and the long-term. And then for the risk, kanid jud ang dili nato maiwasan, same sa COVID karon, this is actually ang pinakadako nga risk so far for any business or organization mo nang maluoy na lang ka magunahuna sa ubang mga company no nga naninarado na. Thankful gani mi na lang no nga si wala jud may ipasagdan nga halos tanang schools, kung wala mo kabalo, halos tanang schools nag-lay off na sa mga empleyado nila, halos sa accounting, duha na lang mabilin, sa RAC or sa register tagtulo, sa mga teachers wa na katong mga naka-serve nagdugay mo na lang ang mga nabilin. So even kami na-retrench man pud sa work starting last April, half na lang among sweldo at wala man with choice kay wala man puy income si kay inyo ka palang blackboard pila gud na ka million. Kaya akong pagkabalo, wala akong kabalo sa price sa blackboard ha. Ang Clipper nga ginagamit sa senior high and branches, ang subscription fee pa lang ana is 10 million. So mo nang say maguna-una mo asa man mga internet fee. Nganong mangayo man og internet fee sa Because kung kita business, kailangan baya jud og maintenance ang blackboard and Clipper, dili man na siya pwede nga i-off nimo ang internet. And then, kung ikaw na business, asa day ka manguha sa imong source sa expenses, alangan sa imong bulsa. part man na gihapon sa costing sa business mo nang it is part of your miscellaneous ang internet fee. Usay makabasa mo na yung mga comments bang ano mga internet nga kami gyapon magbayad sa mga teachers, lain pod nga ang employer pod ang maggasto gikan sa bulsa. It's part. This is a business. So dapat na costing pod na siya pilang gamit nga pilang makonsume nga internet fee or for the entire class. Okay? So risk, this is the probability wherein the investment's actual earnings may be different from the expected return. Okay? Naidako po nga risk nga inyong na-experience. I don't know if na-experience po ninyo to mga scam nga investments last year. I think mo ito yung pinakadako po nga baha, no? Sa itong mga kuhan, even kami nga knowledgeable man kami about risks and handling money. Pero na-tempt po me og invest atong mga Rygen and other investment scams nga naitabo last year. It's a big or high risk kay siya sa atong mga part because we don't know kung mabalik ba, dili po clear ang direction sa organization. Okay? So, usually kaning risk kay nani siya sa inyong mga investments through banks, through securities, stocks, or bonds. So, we don't know nga ang atong gina-expect nga ma-return sa tuwa from our investments. It's far different. It could be higher or it could be lower from our expected because of the risk nga naga-exist bisag asa. Okay, let's define the difference between the two. So for profitability, as what I have said earlier, it's the generation of income. So the more we generate income or profit, the more profitable the company. For solvency, sa dili mangunta mo maka what do you call this one? For our capital, it's not from our what do you call this one? Dili tanan gikan sa bulsa. Sometimes we need to unsa man? We need to mangutang. Mo nang ingon dati ni Henry C. na ay mo dato sa pagpangutang. Pero ang imong buhaton is to pay on time. The best way para mo dato, the best way para maging successful is mangutang. Pero dapat you know how to pay on time. Kasi the more nag-pay ka on time, the more nga mataas ang trust sa imuha sa nagapautang sa imuha. So the more po nga taas ang ipautang sa imuha kung kanus man ka mangutang ulit. Okay? So like sa mga negosyante, wala na siya niabot ang 2 million, 100 million dayon para magtukod sila or mag-operate sila business. But 80%, 50% of their capital gikan na sa pagpangutang. Okay? So there is a financial statement analysis. We will be able to know if that organization can meet the long-term obligations or pwede po mga short-term obligations. So that's solvency. Okay, so what's the purpose of financial statement analysis? Ang naka-bold drop, kindly familiarize, is to evaluate the financial condition and performance. Kung mag-bankrupt na ba, mag-file na bankruptcy sa organization, kay marag, dili naman siya solvent, dili naman po siya profitable. Diba? So we will be able to know if kana nga organization makasustain pa ba? Sustainable pa siya for how many years na lang? So that maka-prepare po siya to file bankruptcy and then ang mga employees buhian na, makapangita paglaing trabaho. Similarities of the same company are compared over a certain period, and comparisons of various companies either in similar or is not the same industries are reflected in the FSA. When doing a financial statement analysis, we compare the performance of this particular organization to their similar organizations. Like for example, CSM, ang iyang financial statement or iyang financial condition, we compare that one to Abriza. We compare that one to Trinoma, or pwede po si Globe. Kamusta man na yung performance compared to PLDT. So muna yung natawag natong we compare the market condition or stability. Okay? So, we could be able to know kung competitive pa ba si Globe over PLDT. What will happen to the financial condition of Globe PLDT pag na si dito? So, murag ingana. Okay? So, mo na yung purpose of financial statement. Okay. Wait lang ha.
Sir, asa na ka, sir?
Guys, asa dapit diri mag-attendance?
Kani asa gid dapit.
Sa messages.
Wala man gud sa comments. Wala link sa
Hey.
taas.
Na-mute day ko, sorry.
Ana.
I-resign lang ako ha inyo ang attendance. Don't worry.
Okay, sir.
Daraw, i-send na ko balik. Okay. So, balik ta. We are now in the method of comparative analysis over time. So, when we compare our financial, when we compare the financial statement of the organization, we compare it to these three methods. Una, intra-company source, meaning we compare our financial statement by the last year, by the last 2 years, or by the next year kung natay gina-forecast nga FS for that. So when we say intra, within the company, i-compare nato ang FS sa, kung for example, karon 2020, compare nato siya sa 2019, 2018, and 2017. For intercompany, mo ni siya ang comparison sa industry. Like for example, among all the competitors, asa man ta dira, higher ba ta or lower ta kay Globe? Like for example, ako si PLDT ba? PLDT. Lower ba ko in terms sa assets turnover, in terms sa current ratio, or sa quick ratio, okay lang ba? Or mas higher si PLDT? So that's intercompany. Our basis is the industry. When we say industry, that is referring to the market. So among the group of competitors. Okay. Next is the averages in the industry. So averages in the industry, like for example, PLDT 0.2, PLDT 0.2, Globe 0.4. Ano ba yung mga network? Murag ka na lang man, no? Kay PLDT, Sun, ug Smart, mo naman na sila. Globe, Sky Cable, separate ba si Sky Cable? Murag separate sa Sky Cable. Sige. Sky Cable, 0.2 gihapon. So if we add these three networks, their what they call this one, example lang niya sa current ratio nila, 0.2, 0.4, and 0.2. Kung itotally mo na sila pila man, 0.8. Tama? To get the average, i-divide nyo siya sa 3. Kaya tuluman sila kabuok. So the answer would be, isa na may na-calculate. Pila man? 0.20 na something. 2.6666. 0.27. Okay, that's the answer. So 0.27 now is the average or the industry average. Okay? So that is how we compare our FS from the industry average, from the intercompany, or from the intracompany. Okay? Para dili mo maglibog sa intercompany o averages in the industry. For intercompany, sa inyohang direct competitor. Like for example, PLDT over Globe, PLDT over Sky Cable. For average in the industry, sa tanang networks nga imong kalaban yun na siya, imong kuhaon ang average nila so that ma-compare nimo kung profitable ba ka, solvent ba ka, or na behind na ka sa industry average. Okay? Nabay question na klaro ba ang purpose of financial statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay na? So next,
Ay, wait lang, sir.
yes, unsa man.
Ay, di ba, sir, after atong i-add ning tulo ka, para makita ang di ba, i-add ning PLDT Globe, Cable, sir, tapos i-divide sa 3, then
Muna yung
times
average.
2 sa, ay,
Dili na
i-divide
siya
lang, sir.
times 2. Yeah, divide 3 lang siya.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, ang ilang sum tulo, i-divide 3, that's the average. Okay. Now, let's proceed to financial statement analysis. So, this includes examining the information indicated in the FS in delivering data of the organization. Muna siya tong sa intra. Like for example, in your past operation, in your present financial position, future performance by assessing organization's revenues in terms of supremacy, determination, value, and progress, and as well as the solvency. Okay, so this will be the basis of your comparison. Okay, na may mga example ana unya, gigamit na ko tong mga among mga outputs last time para mas masabtan niyo. Ipakita na sa inyo mga sample. Okay, so what are the components of financial statements? This is balance sheet. When we say balance sheet, this is composed of assets and liabilities. Okay? Meaning, ang mga butang nga naata o ang atong mga utang. Okay? So, ginatawag siya nga balance sheet because your assets must be equal to liabilities and owner's equity. What I have said earlier. Okay, so these are the compositions of balance sheet: assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. Munang ginatawag siya nga balance sheet kaya dapat, for example, 400,000 ang imuang assets, dapat balance po siya sa total sa liabilities. So just say, imong liabilities is 150, 150,000, dapat ang imong owner's equity kailangan para mabalance. Minsan makatubag.
Ano to, sir?
Let's just say ang assets kay 400,000.
Okay.
Tapos ang imong liabilities kay 150,000. Pila dapat ang owner's equity para maging balance?
350. Ay, 250.
Yeah, that's correct. 250,000. Mara nga tawag na ito nga balance sheet. The assets must be always equal to liabilities and owner's equity. Pwede po siya, your assets minus liabilities is equals to owner's equity. Inyo na siyang ibaliktad-baliktad inyong formula. Mugawa siya po na siya. Di ba kung i-minus ninyo ang 400,000 sa 150, 250 man po ng answer?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So balance na
Yes,
sila
sir.
at all times. Next component is the income statement. In this area or in this component, we'll be able to know kung nagka-profit ba or nagka-loss ang organization. So, ang formula ni class, income less expenses equals profit kung positive ang result, loss kung negative. Okay? For the statement of retained earnings, I will show you some examples for that. Okay. From the past nga income nimo pila imong gi-refer to the next financial statement. And statement of changes in financial position, or what we call statement of cash flows. This is a component of financial statement wherein we'll be able to know how much money are being spent or how much money are being, what you call this one, ang nagasulod sa company. Either na ay halin or na ay additional capital, additional investment. Okay? So these are the areas of changes in financial position or cash flows. Working capital, or other term for this, is the operating activities. Cash changes in cash position, this is investing, in terms of the investment na to. And for the third one, changes in overall financial position, or other term, this is financing. Okay? Don't worry na ako yung mga sample na tanan niya to understand clearly. Okay, money. Sa income statement, morning now. Pero this is for manufacturing, mo nang naga-sales siya. Gikan sa sales, sa mga expenses. But to make it short, sales minus expenses, na siya income. Okay, maring nasa baba. Pwede ba kung mag-pentel pen na rin, no? Pencil. Ano, yung pointer. Kaya, unyo makita na sales. Sa'yo na itabo, sa'yo nyo nakita pag point na ako. Makita ninyong kamot.
Yes, sir. Sales.
Okay, sales. Okay, sales less expenses, that's income, right? So this is the composition of income statement. Kaso kanimo nga example kay manufacturing. Dili siya service. Kung sa service man good, diretso siya income, like unsa may mga service. Like for example, laundry. Wala naman yung mga purchases, nga mo palit pa kag mga materials para mahimo imong laundry. Or other services like sa hospitals,
Car wash.
sa income. Car wash, diretso na siya income less expenses. But this example is for merchandise and for manufacturing. That's why
Diba
taas ang
ka-
process na pa mga, yes, ang sana.
Sir, di ba kanang PLDT is na kuan po na siya, services na po na siya.
Yes, services na sila. Tama ka. Because mabala ninyo siya nga product or service. Kung goods or product, tangible, meaning magunitan na to ilang mga products. But for services, these are intangibles, meaning dili na to makita, dili po na to siya magunitan. Like sa internet, nakabalutan na internet, pero nagunitan ba na to? Maybe ang modem magunitan, but the internet itself, jud nga word, it's intangible. So those are services. Like for example, sa education, sa academe or education industry, iba wala may ginabaligya ang mga teachers nga
Yes, sir.
tangible product, but
Yes.
ang ginabaligya na diploma, that's intangible. Okay? So for this, ang example mo na ni dili siya service mo nang na siya sales, mo na yung mga ginabaligya nga products ba mo na yung cost of goods sold. Sa cost of goods sold, taas po ni siya formula. But ayun na kayo ninyo ni siya i-mind. Basta sales minus the expenses. Kung na depreciation, i-less po siya. And that's your total operating costs. Less interest and less taxes, that's net income. Okay? So this is the income statement. Income statement is also called, sulat na ako financial mong gawas na sa inyo ang exam. Financial performance. Okay? Income statement is also called financial performance. We will be able to know if ang organization nag-perform well ba siya, profitable ba siya or not. So, pares ani sa example, positive ba or negative ang 87,960? Okay.
Positive.
Compared sa 2010, positive no sa 2009. So meaning this is a profit. Compared sa 2010 nga na ay close and open parenthesis, this is a sign nga nagka-negative or nagka-loss ang company. Okay?
Yes.
That's why that is also called financial performance. Okay, are we good with the income statement? Namali akong slide, dapat mo ng balance sheet because pag magbuhat mo FS mo, na jud always si balance sheet followed by the income statement. Ay, sorry. Tama jud ay ako mauna si income statement and then followed by the balance sheet. Because si income statement madugang nato na siya dito sa changes in financial position. Okay? So next, we have tama jud akong gibuhat no. Balance sheet. Maning naong sa balance sheet. Ingon ako ganina, assets is equal to liabilities and equity. Tanawan ninyo, pila ang total assets?
1,400.
For 2009, 1,468,800. Pila ang sa total liabilities and equity?
Same, sir.
Lang.
Same. That's why ginatawag siya nga balance sheet. Okay? So, what are the composition of assets? Una, cash. Kung na kay cash, imuha na or dili. If you own it, then that's your asset. Okay? That's good. Short-term investment, since investment, mahimuha mang yapo na siya, so that is also part of assets. Accounts receivable, pasabot ani kanang mga nay nagutang sa imuha. So meaning nakay dawatunon. That is also an asset. Yes. Inventories. Ang pasabot aning inventories, like for example, nakay tindahan. Tapos napay mga wala na baligya nga mga tinapa, mga quick chow, mga candies, biscuits. Those are the inventories. That's why pag mahalin na siya, cash mong gyapon na siya, di ba? So that's why it is part of the asset. Okay? So when we say asset, this is are your properties. These are cash as well or something that you own. Next, wala may land, no? So other account titles sa assets kay mga land, the properties, the buildings, the computers, nganong part man sa assets ang mga devices, equipments, facilities, because it will be yours. Okay? Mahimo na siyang asset sa company. And then, saleable po siya kung pwede po nimo ibaligya ng mga particular equipment nimo. But in each asset, katong mga fixed assets like land, building, computers, kanang mga yung naga-depreciate na jud siya over time. Unsa lang man ang dili naga-depreciate, tanaw ninyo nga asset.
Land, sir.
Land, very good, because nag-appreciate siya mo nang nindot jud mag-invest og land. Kaya ang 100,000 nga land karon, it will be ang cost ana or ang price ana 5 years from now na nasa 1 million. So kung namoy makita niya land nga barato lang ibaligya sa inyo, ha, it's a good opportunity to buy for that particular land because kana lang jud nga asset ang dili naga-appreciate. The rest naga-depreciate. That's why depreciation will be deducted to your asset as what you can see here, less accumulated depreciation. Okay? Ano man na depreciation? Anong gross fixed assets? Fixed assets refer to land, building, equipments, and others. Naragisig hawa, no? Pag mo alta baka mo murag left iyang mabutang, no? Okay.
Sir?
So pag mag-altab ka ba, like for example, mo altab sa kakadali kay mag-Facebook ka, murag left ang mabutang dari ano? Murag nag-leave siya sa conversation pero makabalik dayon siya pag mag-altab siya balik sa tuang Blackboard LMS.
Yes, sir.
I-try daw na ko ana altab kung left ba ang makabutang.
Interlate. Cellphone ang gamit.
Okay. So next, for liabilities. Okay? So for liabilities, these are obligations like imong mga utang mo nang kung ganina accounts receivable mo ni siyang mga dawatonon. Sa liabilities, accounts payable mo ni siyang mga bayronon. Okay? It could be bayronon through accounts or credit. Pwede po siya notes. Utang nimo through promissory note. Accruals, kanitong mga taxes, isa pa ba mga types sa accruals? Mga rents, insurance, okay? So, kanang mga billings nga wala pa nimo nabayaran. But it is also part sa mga bayaro nun. Okay? Next is long-term debt. Kay matawag siya nga long-term debt kung ang kani nga utang mo lapas og isa ka tuig. Common stock, this is equity. Same as return earnings, that total equity. So now I want you to compute how much is the total liabilities
400,
sa 2009.
481, 400,880.
81.
481,
600,000, sir.
600. Napa may long-term debt.
Ay,
So ang total nila duha mo na yung total
581,
liabilities.
600. 581,000.
800. I think that is 800. 5,032. Tama ba ko?
Yes, sir. Tama.
481, 600 plus 323.
Tama,
432,
sir.
that's 800. Tama, no?
Opo.
Okay. Next is the common stock. Mo nitong mga shares sa organization and retained earnings. These are the equity. Mo nang pa-compute na ko sa inyo separately ang liabilities para ma-identify ninyo which are part of the liabilities and which are part of the equities. So common stock, retained earnings, this is the equity. So kung i-compute nimo ang equity lang, that's 863,768. But to get the total liabilities and equity, that's the combination between total liabilities and total equity. So the total of total liabilities and equity must always be equal to the total assets. Na yung nagbabaoghan, isa pa sabot ana. Nag-raise kag hand ganina, na nagbaba lang karon. Okay, so any question with the balance sheet? Before that, I will also introduce to you that in assets, we have this current and non-current assets. When we say current assets, these are assets within a year or not more than 1 year. Meaning, mapuslan mo na siyang asset for within a year or for not more than 1 year. Mahimo siyang non-current assets kung mula pa siya og isa ka tuig, more than 1 year. Okay? So, okay, identify na to. Sa assets, cash. That's liquid, right? Ang cash, meaning magunita na nimo na within a month, within a day. So, that's current. Tama? For short term, from the word short-term investment, that's why it is part of the current assets. Accounts receivable, kung kanang nga utang, laing kayo magpautang ka no, o lapas isa ka tuig, bangko na siya, dili na siya effective kung ang himo mga negosyo, merchandising, pautang nimo more than a year, it is not effective. That's why it's always part of the current assets. Og inventories, kung imo mga tinapa, next year pa nimo na siya ipangbaligya, siguro ma-expire na. That's why it's part of the current assets. Okay? So again, current is good for 1 year and not more than a year. And for insurance company, that is long term. So that is non-current. Okay? For the fixed assets like land, wala man siguro yung land long mapuslan ng 1 year unless kung rent lang na siya. So that's short term. But for land, buildings, computers, equipments, and others that can be used more than a year, that is part of your non-current assets. Okay? Same sa liabilities. Kung kang imong utang is more less than a year or for within a year, that is part of your current liabilities. Like for example, accounts payable, notes payable. So wala dyan mo utang og more than 1 year, no? Kay the tawagan na kung dugay ang imong utang bayaran, nagadugang nagasaka po ang interest, right? So dili po siya healthy sa organization. And for notes payable, saying accruals like sa mga utang sa taxes, bayaran man dyan mo sa quarterly, one of parts sa sa current, like sa mga unsa pa man, mga lights, utilities, sarong di kaputlan sa Davao Light kung mubayad ka after a year pa. So that's part of the current liabilities. For non-current naman, these are the liabilities that is payable after a year or more than a year. Mga long-term debt, kana mga loan nimo sa bank and other mga financial institutions. Okay?
Bonds, sir, bonds.
Yes, bonds is usually tama ka. That's long-term. Kung sa insurance company mong ginamin, Mr. Sariol, kung kana ginabayad mo siya monthly, that's part of the short term. Okay? But that if that is annually or more than a year, or actually, ang nana siya portion kung ang insurance nimo di ba usually mabot man nagtag more than 30 years. For example, karon 2020 to 2050, ang insurance until December, that is part of the current. Okay? Ang insurance nimo nga bayaron from the year 2021 up to 2050, that's non-current na. Okay? So, nga na siya pag-allocate. Sige. So, clear
Yes, sir.
ba? Klaro
Sa
na?
pa yung mga laing, mga laing term or an example sa mga non-current liabilities, sir?
Non-current liabilities, mortgage. Usually kana
Okay, sir,
mortgage payable, bonds payable, long term. Kana lang sila usually ang ginagamit sa accounting.
Okay,
Long-term
sir. Thank
payable.
you.
Okay. Isa pa man question. I will appreciate questions. Ayaw mo kaulap. Na pa mga questions? Inyong timan-an ang non-current sa assets kay mga PPEs. Insured property, plant, and equipment. Okay.
Sir, isa ba itong mga current liability, sir? Mga current liability.
Current liabilities mga kanang accounts payable, notes payable, accruals, kanang mga accruals kanang nagamit na nimo pero wala pa nimo nabayaran. Like for example, nagamit na kag suga, nagamit na kag tubig, nagamit na kag internet, tapos nag-operate na kag business, tapos ang taxes nimo bayaran mo siya at the end of the quarter pa. So those are accruals. Okay, so those are liabilities nga bayaran nimo in a short period of time. Okay? Mula na sila usually accounts payable. Kanya, maka-encounter ta na ko kay mga other example. Accounts payable, notes payable, accruals. Kung sa yun, specify kung unsang accruals, but general sa kakaroon because this is only an overview. Okay? So I think we're good with the balance sheet. Let's proceed to the statement of the retained earnings. Okay, so these retained earnings, pag makakita gani mo January class, mo na dyan na siyang beginning. Mo na siyang ending sa 2018, mo na siyang beginning sa 2019. Okay, so how to come up with the statement of retained earnings? Retained earnings beginning plus ang imong income karon nga tuig, and then less dividends atong mga na-distribute sa mga stockholders. That's our retained earnings end. Okay, mga 480K. So, buhatan na to example ha, balik ta diri sa ato ang balance sheet. Okay. So, if you will compute how much is the retained earnings end sa 2010. Tanaw na to, pila ganin makita ba ninyo ang nabutang sa akong kamot? Pilang amount?
97,632.
97,632. So this is the ending balance of the retained earnings sa 2009. Tama?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we will get the retained earnings and for the year of 2010, ang atong beginning ana, retained earnings beginning, kung sa atong basis, ang sa 2009.
2009.
Kung unsay end sa 2009, may beginning sa 2010. So that 203,768 less or add sa natong income. Ilang income sa 2009 di ay? Add income. Alik na to sa income statement. Laman 87
960.
87,960.
960.
So add 87,960. Na may calculate pero pila man tanan?
185,592. Ay.
200,
291,000.
290, 291.
291.
128.
Ito?
291,728.
728. Okay. Nabay dividends, libutang. Process ako itulo sa inyo in terms sa detailed na ma-encounter gyapon ninyo ni siya. Wala ba ay nakaingon? Like, wala mo na ako na screenshot na ng problem. Maybe na ni siya dividends. Tapos ang difference ana, mo to ang kuan. Let's just say, let's dividend of gani atong retained earnings sa 2010, 97,632. Kuan daw class, i-compute daw ninyo 291,728 minus 97,632.
So, sir?
291,728 minus 97,632.
194,096, sir.
96. Okay.
19.
So, our retained earnings and is 97,632. Kindly check ang akong gisend sa inyo ha.
Yes, sir. Yes, dividends.
Kasi tawag ana nila, sir.
Okay.
Unsa
So,
na siya
sa
nga
retained earnings,
computation?
di ba, usually corporation man ang ginatong ginakomputan of FS. Di ba naman na
Yes, sir.
distribution of dividends, tama? When say dividends, kuning mga na-earn sa company nga i-distribute sa mga members. Okay? So, katong mga nabilin from the distribution nga kwarta, mo siya ginatawag nga retained. Mo nang na-retained nga mga earnings. Na-gets ninyo? Like for example, last year, na ay retained earnings nga 300,000 or na ay earnings nga 300,000. From the 300,000, nag-distribute ang corporation of 100,000 to the members. So meaning na nabilin nga 200,000, right? Tama ba ko?
Yes, sir.
So katong nabilin nga 200,000 will be the retained earnings of the next year.
Mm.
Okay. Gets ninyo? So, ang total earnings of the corporation plus the income nga na-earn nila minus the dividends that being distributed to the members will be your net retained earnings. So, kanang net retained earnings will be the next retained earnings for the next year. Manang kanang makita nato dire sa example. So, kaning retained earnings sa January 1, 2009, mo ni siyang nabilin ng earnings sa 2008. Tama?
Yes, sir.
So, gidugangan sa income karong 2009 plus gibawasan sa mga dividends nga distribute sa mga members sa corporation, mo ning nabilin nga retained earnings for this year. And this 480,000 will be the retained earnings beginning for 2010.
2010.
Yes. Nakuha?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So, concept lang sa takaron.
Yes, sir.
Okay, next. Changes in financial position or what we call the cash flow. Statement of cash flow. So, muna giningon ako ganyan na operating na ay tulog ka type sa cash flow, operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. For operating activities, mo na usually ang mga ginabaligyan nato nga mga merchandise or mga inventories. Like for example, nag-increase ang inventory, sales. So those are the operating. For investing, monitong sa mga buildings, sa mga land, sa mga fixed assets and equipment. For financing, monitong mga loans. Okay? So pila ang nadugang sa operating, pilay nabawas sa operating, pilay nadugang sa investing, pilay nabawas sa investing, pila ang nadugang sa financing, pila ang nabawas sa investing, and then we get the net cash flow. Okay? This is the source of cash. So I think that would be all for the financial statements. So again, review ta natay upat, right? Una, manawag ko bi. Saan naman yung uban? Saan ako pagkita sa inyo, class? Okay, kung sanay aning kon good. Sige daw, Miss Melia. What are the 4 components of financial statements? Hatag lang ka isa. Hello, Aldea. Kinsay maka tabang kay Aldea basig nawala yung signal. Nag-down jud yung signal. Yes, balance sheet. Very good, Milia. Who else? Chiva.
Income statement.
Income statement.
Income
Okay.
statement, sir.
Sige, pakitype sa chat box para ma-take note. What else? Topic.
Statement of cash flow, sir.
Statement of cash flow or statement of changes in financial position. By the way, kung ang other term di ay sa income statement is financial performance, for balance sheet, it is also called financial position. Okay? So, kumusta man ang status sa asset sa company? How about ang liabilities? Mo nang gitawag siyang position. Okay? What about the last component? Ay, naingon na din cash flows. Before that one.
Statement of retained earnings.
Statement of retained earnings or changes in owners' equity.
Changes in owner's equity, sir.
Yes, that is the other term. Okay, so tools of financial statement analysis. How are we going to analyze the FS? Katungingon na to gayna, we will analyze, it would be intra. I-compare nato siya over the years or inter from our direct competitors or sa industry average, sa total average sa tanan nimong mga competitors. So we will use this one, financial ratio analysis and the analysis of comparative financial statements. It could be horizontal or trend or vertical and common size analysis component. Okay. Always dapat mga business ad mong kabalo mo unsang horizontal ha o unsang vertical. Unsa ganang horizontal? Kahigda patindog.
Patindog, sir.
Higda.
Agay, pagsabot sa mo. Kaya kung pa akong igalibugan dati mo nang dapat dilid ko ano na
Vertical barog.
sure jud horizontal
Horizontal, sir, pahigda.
Yes, sir.
Pahigda.
Vertical barog.
Pahigda ang horizontal.
Horizontal. Ang vertical, sir,
Okay,
patindog.
x-axis. Tama ba ko? X-axis. Muna siya ang horizontal. For vertical, okay siya ang patindog. Okay, so nawala ba ko? Nagyapan ko?
Sir.
Okay, so let's have an example that one later. For financial ratio analysis, these are the ratios under the IFS. Commonly, it is classified into 4. The liquidity, the leverage, profitability, and the efficiency. Okay, so i-follow lang na to ang inyong kung unsa na sa module. Lahi man gud na sa mo sa accounting, pero lahi pud di ay ang sa finance na term. Okay. So let's start with liquidity ratios. So when we say liquidity ratios class, this is the measure of the ability of the business to meet its short-term maturing obligations. Meaning, kaya ba ma-meet sa organization ang ilang utang by the use of their assets? Tama? Like for example, current ratio. The formula here is current assets over lagi. Sa to. Paki-mute. Okay, na. So for liquidity ratios class natay duha or tulo ka classifications. Una is current ratio. Kani ang pag-measure sa capability sa organization to pay its obligation or its short term. Take note, short term. Mo na ginatawag nga current. Meaning, di ba, when we say current, that's less than a year or within a year. And not more than 1 year. So, when we say current, that's the ability of the organizations to pay its utang for a short term by using its current assets. O sa itong mga current assets, katong cash, katong accounts receivable, katong short-term investments, katong inventories. Okay? Next is quick acid ratio. Sa quick acid, usahay manggod, dugay mabaligya ang inventory. That's why we will exclude that one. Sa current ratio to compute if the company can able to pay its obligation even without the inventory. Okay? So the formula for quick asset, mo nang nakitan sa baba, only cash, accounts receivable, and other current asset, excluding inventories. Okay, we don't know manggod, pwede pa manggod nga ang inventory mahalin next year, or pwede po ilabay na lang, i-reject na lang because dili na siya mahalin within the year. So, next is cash flow to current debt ratio. This is new for me, but the formula is cash flow from operations. Katong first type sa cash flow, katong ingon ako ganina, from the sales, from inventories, from accounts receivable, and other operating activities. Divide the debt service. So this measures capacity to generate sufficient cash from regular operations. Kung kaya ba mabayaran ng imong utang by the regular operations. Okay? Like sa imong sales, sa imong inventory, sa imong accounts receivables, and etc. Okay? Again, for liquidity ratios, kani ang pag-analyze kung kaya ba bayaran sa organization ang ilang utang gamit ang current assets. Another is current assets excluding the inventories, or also called acid test or quick acid test, and the cash flow using the operating activities. Sorry. Next is leverage and profitability ratio. For leverage, this measures the degrees to which credit applicant has been funded by the debt. Okay, so una, debt to equity ratio. This measures as to how much utang ang naggamit para lang maka-invest for the company. Like for example, sa imong tanang utang, i-divide mo siya sa mga investments nga naka. So, this measures kung pila ang imong nagamit nga utang para ma-cover ang imong investments. Next is debt ratio. This is total liabilities over total assets. Pila imong nautang para makapalit ka sa imong assets karon. Okay? Kung mas dako pa kag utang, unya alkansi pud ka sa imong assets, so dara nimo ma-assess or ma-measure ang imong debt ratio if effective or not. Next is time interest earned ratio. So earnings before interest and taxes. Katong mapansin na to ganina, diri sa layo-layo na ba to? Sa income statement. Okay, sa income statement, di ba, naatay interest expense, napuntay taxes nga gibawas sa operating cost. So kani, excluding interest and taxes, hapit na to, 25 slides lang man eh. Excluding the interest and taxes over your interest payment. So this measures the degree to which earnings cover the interest. Sa imong total earnings, kaya ba nimo ma-cover ang mga interest nga ginabayaran nimo? Okay? That is for leverage. Next, profitability ratio na ay upat ka components. Una, by the way, discuss na what is profitability. This measures management efficiency as presented in returns generated from sales and investment. From the sales and investments of the organization or of the corporation, nag-profit ba, nag-increase, nag-maximize ba ang profit or wala? So we will be able to know by these ratios. Una, net profit margin. So this measures the percentage of revenue that finds its means into profit. Like for example, ang iyahang net income, meaning kaniyang profit over sales, if taas ba? Next, return on assets. This measures how much profits are generated from invested resources, because the use of assets is not just for you para na kay computer, but that is an investment para magkataas ang imuhang sales. So we need to compute kung how much profits we earn from the assets we have. So that's net income over average total assets. Okay? Next, return on equity. That's net income to common stocks over average common equity. So this measures returns shared by the common stockholders after the distribution of the stocks or of the shares to the shareholders or stockholders na abagi hapon na bilin nga profit or nga earnings. And then earnings per share, that's net income to common stock over number of outstanding common shares. Actually, mabalaan ninyo ni siya sa corporation. This is actually a broad discussion, but we just have to overview lang kung saan siya. So this establishes earnings generated per share of common stock. Natin mga example lang na. Yeah. Next,
Sir,
yes. Question.
Sir, net income, sir.
Net income is also a profit or loss.
Okay.
Okay. Balik tayo rin sa kuan. Basta maglibog mo nun sa difference sa income ug sales.
Yes, sir.
When we
Yes.
say income, that is usually used, or that term is usually used for service. Like, pilay mong sweldo, that's your income. Pero kung ikaw na maliyag products, pilay mong sales. Pero ang net income ang ginapasabot diri class is the profit or loss. Di ba nakita ninyo, yung sales, yung halin 3,140,132. Less ta ng expenses, mo yung net income or the profit or the net sales. Dapat ang term diri kay net sales. Meaning, ang nabilin sa sales after all the expenses nga gipang deduct. So, ang income nga gipasabot diri sa formula is the profit or loss. Meaning, ang ginansya sa company over the sales. Ang ginansya sa company over the total, average total assets. Saan nga ita? Next, efficiency. Napabay question? Additional question? Paspas dahil oras, no? 8:36, no? Next, efficiency ratio. This measures how competent and capable is the credit applicant in using its resources. Let's just say, asset turnover. This indicates how difficult the firm's assets are being placed in usage. Like for example, sales. Imong halin over the average total assets.
Nawala ka, sir.
Asa na si sir? Sir? Sir?
Uy, nadunggan ko.
Nawala ka, sir.
Karon
Wala,
nadunggan na.
sir. Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Sir, nadunggan na, sir.
Okay, for asset turnover,
Okay na,
it's
sir.
from the assets that we have, how much profit we earn from that particular asset. So that's the formula, sales over average total assets. Next, average collection period. Average receivables over average daily sales. Sa ato mga nahalin, mga pila ka adlaw kaya bayaran sa mga nangutang or sa mga nag-accounts payable. Next, inventory turnover ratio. That's cost of goods sold over average inventory. Kamusta man ang movement sa imong inventories? Pila ka adlaw before mahalin ang mga nasa imong inventories. Okay? So this is actually the formula for cost of goods sold. Beginning inventory, meaning ang nahalin sa mga stocks nimo, idugtong nimo imong mga bagong pinalit, less ang nabili. So that's cost of goods sold. Okay, next, analysis of comparative financial statements. For horizontal, we have trend, line by line. Para masabtan na ing ani ni siya. Atong tan-aw ni ha. Akong gibuhat. Share files. Nawala na hanapin. Okay. Wait lang, kadali lang ha, nag-share sa ako. Na ba may mga trabaho after?
Wala, sir.
Wala na, sir. Napa ko,
Okay
sir.
lang mo. Masim, ay na. Sa oras yung trabaho.
9 p.m. sir.
Trabaho dito pa rin.
Bibili lang yung sa mga download. Wait lang ha, kadali lang yun. Lang ano eh. Hindi ko siya ma-download. While waiting, tanawa sa ninyo ni class kaning mga formula. Di siya ma-share. Ay, di siya sama ni pag Zoom.
Sila hanap-hanap man, sir.
Kana.
Sakit sa mata. Hanap, sir.
Pwede siya
Ma-zoom na mo,
ma-zoom.
sir, basta sa cellphone.
Kana.
Ma-zoom man siya
Sa cellphone, sir,
laptop.
pwede ma-zoom.
Zoom siya.
Karang, gi-zoom na nako. So, like for example, how are we going to understand ang particular result sa ratio? Like for example, for liquidity, di ba ang formula ana kay current assets? Pwede niyo na siya i-download or isend na lang ako sa inyo ang BB. Mo na siya formula, gibutang na namo tanan ang formula dere niya, and then ang calculation sa divider mo na. Okay. So for example, 1,000 ang current assets divide 310. So ang ratio ana kay 3.2. I-compare din mo siya sa industry average. Meaning aning industry average mo ni siya ang average ha sa mga total industries or total competitors nga naaka. So for example, the industry average is 4.2. Di ba mas gamay si 3.2?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so pasabot ani na-comment sa right side. Pasabot ani poor. Meaning the organization has the difficulty to pay its short-term obligation using their assets. Okay? So mo na inga ng purpose sa ratio. Next, quick. Di ba sa quick kay tanang current assets ni siya, i-minus lang nimo ang inventories. Okay? Mo nang kaliyan niya sa current. So, divide mo sa current liabilities. Let's just say that the current liabilities, the current assets minus inventories is $385. Divide 310, the ratio now is 1.2. Let's just say that the industry average is 2.1 and you only have 1.2. Still poor. Kasabot, maglisod pod ka apas sa other companies. So commonly class, kaning duha lang dyan ginagamit sa liquidity.
Yes,
Kaning
sir.
quick and current. Okay? Next, for asset management, wait lang ha, ako sa i-download, balik ko ma-download lang may akong siya ma-download, no? Nga naman. Naurot na sa akong iCloud. Downloaded naman. Okay, next. For asset management, inventory turnover. So for sales over inventories, that's let's just say 3,000 ang sales, na inventories is 615, 4.9. Meaning, poor kaayo to ang mga nabilin nga inventory, dili siya basta-basta dayon mahalin. So because that is almost 4 pod, no? Almost half ang iyang difference sa industry average. That's why the comment is poor. Next, days sales outstanding. Our receivables over annual sales. So The industry average is 36.0, meaning by the span of 36 days, nagastay ang imuhang ginabayaran ka sa imong mga creditors. Pero sa imuhang organization, more than 45 days. So, mo ang comment is poor. Okay? So, nabiyaan ka kaysa industry. Ang mga ubang nimong competitors within 36 days, makabayad na. Sa imuha, it takes 45 days before ka mabayaran. So, that's why your comment could be poor. Next, fixed assets turnover. Formula is sales over net fixed assets. Let's just say that's 3.0, which is almost the same with the industry average. That's why it's okay, meaning you're competitive enough in terms of your fixed assets turnover. Next, total assets turnover. That's sales over total assets. So let's just say 1.5. It's still lowered compared to other industry average. Pero depende gyapon na sa yung judgment ha. Kung 1.5 is not that material or it's not that lower compared to the industry average, pwede na yapon niyo siya ma-consider nga okay or good. Pero sa example diri, poor daw siya. Okay, next for debt management, for debt ratio. Okay, so risky siya kay out of 40% higher sa 13.2%. Okay, so imong liabilities daghan kag nautang just to buy your assets. Okay? So meaning 53.2% ang imuhang debt ratio. Ang industry average lang kay 40% ang ilahang mga nautang para magkaroon silang assets. So risky siya. Basig dili mabalik, basig dili ma-convert into cash ang imuhang assets kay magbayad pa kasi mong mga utang. Like for example, ano karon tukod kog internetan kay mo'y kusog kay online class. Unya ang gipamalit nimo tanan sa computer is 100,000. Then your total assets is 120. So very kayo na, ka-risky kung mabalik ba, ma-convert ba na siya into profit ang imuhang assets nga giutang nimo. So it could be capital ka as cash, dili puro tanan utang. So mo na imong assessment for that particular problem. Next, times interest earned, earnings before interest and taxes mo na ginatawag na EBIT over interest charges. So sa imong earnings, how much ang imong kaya ibayad sa mga interest charges nga ma-incurred within a year or within a quarter. So, sa example, industry average, 6, niya mo 3.2. So, still risky but not that high. Okay? Next, for EBITDA, this is after depreciation. Siya lease points ba na? Over interest.
Ano sa abbreviation ng EBITDA, sir?
EBITDA. Balik ka sa wait lang. Dari atong sa income statement janina. Income statement. Share now. EBITDA. I-time check ko ninyo ha. 8:49 sama na ito nag-answer. Actually, ako ram gawin na ninyo o klase ani ba? Okay, mani siya. EBITDA. So, EBIT is earnings before income and taxes. Da is depreciation. So, EBITDA, if you add the net income, that's after earnings before kaning pwede nimo siya kaning kuan lang sales or total operating cost. less depreciation. That's your EBITDA, meaning your earnings before depreciation, before interest expense, and before taxes. That's EBITDA.
Okay, sir. Thank you po.
So, ang shortcut ana is your total operating costs less depreciation. Kay kana, wala pa kay interest, wala po kay taxes. Ano, i-deduct na lang po din mong depreciation. Yung nga na pag-compute sa EBITDA. Balik ta. So, dili na siguro ako ni isa-isa no, kaning FS ratio formula. Actually, kung mag-exam man, given man ako ang formula, pwede nyo na siya bit-biton. Okay? Kay magtrabaho mo po, hindi man ninyo memorize. Even kami, di man naman na memorize. Even sa exam na mo sa MBA, kay di pa tanaw po ni sa mua. Pero wala ning comment. Kay kanimo gud ang exam, how will you analyze? So, imo na lang na subton karon sa isa. Okay? So, balik ta. Problema ko kaya di na ako ma-download tong FS. Download ko yung FS preparation. Okay. So, yung nga siya pagsabot class. When we compute the horizontal, unsa yung horizontal pahigda, right?
Pahigda.
So, if we want to know how much or pila ang changes sa imong cash, i-divide na to ang imong 2019 over 2018. Let's just say 91,450 divide 74625. Pila man ang changes? Palig ko sa akong phone.
1.2, sir. Divide, sir, no?
Oo, divide.
1.2.
1.2.
2.
91 versus 2 divide.
Wala yung tingog, sir.
Okay, so compute sana ako 91,450 minus 74625 divide 91,450.
Current rent base.
Ikaw na kung i-type ha, wait lang ha. What you're going to do is the present year minus the last year divide the present year. Nasabtan ba? Lista na ako sa inyo ha. Kanina lang ang term. Current year minus base year over divide base year times 100%. Okay. Right, for example, atong current year diri kay 2019, ang atong base 2018. So 91 450 ay minus our base year 74,625. Kunya, ang answer ana i-divide na to sa base. Pila may answer na? 91,450 minus 74,625. That's 16. 16,825. Kunya, i-divide na to base year nga 74,625 equals 22.55%. Okay? So, pakita ang tanong ko na kung example ba, pero sa man nga, di man siya ma-download. Wait lang ha, kanali lang yan.
Looks so good, yeah, looks so looking good enough to eat. Come in the fish with the word I see.
Class, di dyan ako siya ma-download. Murag di kuhan ko sa iCloud na full na siguro. Naman ko yung answer ani. Pero yung ani ni siya, sa horizontal, since pahigda man siya, i-compare nimo ang imuhang cash sa base current year, which is 2019 compared sa 2018. Kunya, to get the percentage kung pila yang increase or pila yang decrease for this current year. Like for example, sa cash, akong gibuhat from the formula current year minus base year, divide base year times 100%. So 91,450 minus 74,625, the difference of the 2 years will be 16,825. So yahang increase compared to the last year, that is 22.55%. Mabala man nato nga na-increase kung mas dako ang 2019 compared sa 2018. So we just have to get how much cash ang nag-increase for the current year. Same sa short term, i-compare nimo. So I guess for the short term investments, nag-decrease din siya, no? Kay mas higher si 2018 compared sa current year. Accounts receivable, nag-increase po siya. Inventories nag-increase. But for vertical, ang inyong buhaton ana, class, kay pagpa-tindog. So, you will automatically, kaning total assets, 100% na siya. Okay. So, imong buhaton, 74,625 ano? Wait lang ha. Mag-open na lang kung na Google Sheet para masab.
Time na, sir.
Napa si sir?
Sandali lang daw.
Ay, sorry.
Hello class, sorry nagbuhat ko Google Sheet. Okay, so dito lang ta mag-view ha. Pwede pa ba makakontinue kadali ang uban or naman yung mga trabaho? Okay lang man kay na-record man.
Tulog.
Pinya, sir.
Naka-record
Sige,
man
sir,
ito.
lang.
For those who cannot join na, okay lang pag mo leave. Okay? So, inganin ni siya may tabo. Ako sa ning picture na. Okay, ako na sa i-copy sa Google. Gibuhanan. Pag isa mo open. Pag makakonect mo sa Wi-Fi, kay mahilabtan ang akong iCloud. Buot-buot. Okay, again ha, for those who have duties or for those who cannot attend, okay lang mag-leave na record man ako. For those who can stay, i-continue na lang sana to ni. Share. Okay, this one. Makita ninyo ang akong gibuhat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so ikopyahon sana ako tanan ha. Back to ano na yun ko sinugdanan. And then accounts. Not 8, 5. Okay. So, sa horizontal, atong buhaton na, di ba yung anay? Base less current. Tama? And then, after na ito makuha na, i-divide na to siya sa iyahang base nga year. So, dali na lang sa para di maglibog. Divide base. So, meaning, kaniyang increase, i-convert nato na siya to percentage. Muna, 22.55 yung increase. So, kung isa yung kaya nato, dili niya madalhon, no? Para masabtan niyo yung hinay na to. So, base sa short-term investments, less sa current less base. Compute na to ang iyahang difference over the base, that is 24.50% yung decrease. Mano siya horizontal class. Pasabot, by 2019, there is 22.55% increase on cash. Then, nagka-negative, nag-decrease ang short-term of investments. Accounts receivable also increases by 26.83. This is for horizontal. How about for vertical? So, napansin ninyo, ang horizontal, ingani ang pagka-divide. Tama? Manang pahigda. Ang vertical, ingani yung nato na siya. So, i-compare nato na siya. So, manon sana ako type tanan ha. Gamera man. Next, gani, inventories. For inventories, na 38450 for 2019. 34982. Nakopya na picture, na screenshot inyo ganina.
Yes, sir.
So, inyo na lang siyang copy naman. Yeah. So, nag-increase siya 9.91%. Okay. Then, net fixed assets. Bili na ako, i-disregard na ako ng current assets. Okay, total lang man siya sa cash to inventory sa ang total current assets. So, our fixed assets is 67,000. Kunya, ang 2018 4,236. Okay, copy po natin siya. Then, our horizontal analysis. I-hide na ko ni class ha. So, this is horizontal. So, our total assets, how much is our total assets? Example lang nato na tanan.
316,770.
So, manang nasa libro ko, no? 152. So, how to get the vertical? So, this one, is automatically 100%. So, ano bro? Sorry. 1 lang na dapat. So, your total assets will be automatically 100%. So, since vertical, mo pagka-computing anak, pasaka. So, like for example, imo ning kanis si cash, imong i-divide sa total assets. So, among the total assets, 28% or 28.87% are cash. Okay? Again, for short term, i-divide nato sa total assets. But 36% of the total is short term. Next, accounts receivables, divide total assets. The answer is 34.24%. So meaning, Of the total assets, 34.24% are accounts receivable. For inventories, same formula, divide na to siya. Convert to percentage or times 100, that's 12.14. And then, net fixed assets, divide total assets, that's 22.15%. Kung imo gyapon na siyang i-check kung mo total ba siya 100, 100 gyapon na siya. Way labot ang 100% ta, 100, di ba? So, mo na siya ang vertical, meaning imong i-divide ang each area sa assets over the total assets. Inga na pagka-compute ang vertical. Ingani ang vertical, and then, ingani ang horizontal. Nasabtan ko ninyo, class?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so ingani lang siya. So, what about for sales? Or for liabilities? Same lang sa liabilities. Sa liabilities, ang inyong 100% ana kay ang total liabilities and equity. Okay? So, your 100% for liabilities and equity is the total liabilities and equity. What about for income statement? Kung buhatan ninyo siya.
Net sales.
Ang
Net sales ang
Net sales
100%.
daw, sir.
net sales.
Huh?
Balik ta sa problem. Wait lang. Balik ta sa problem na.
Income statement.
Hello? Balik ta. Wait lang. Okay pa, Madara.
Yes, sir.
Okay pa, sir.
Pagtiisa na lang nato
Yes,
ha, at
sir.
least ma-discuss sa inyo ha, para matabangan tamo sa inyong exam.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Asa naman ito? Saan ito dapat? Here. For income statement, ang imong basis sana, imong 100% kay ang sales. So, cost of goods sold divide sales, other expenses divide sales, depreciation divide sales. So, meaning, out of 100%, pila ka percent ng cost of goods sold sa sales? Pila ang portion sa depreciation sa sales? Ingana lang sa class, ha? Okay, any questions?
Net sales, sir, no? Net
Yes,
sales.
net sales. Ang pinakataas yung basis. Kung sa assets and liabilities, ang pinaka-ilalom, ang sa income statement, ang pinakauna, which is net sales.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Kinsa na yung mga panguntana?
Di ba kanang oras ba tinod ano? 10 minutes lang.
Sir, sa vertical, sir, abilit. Focus sa sir, nakalimot mo ko, sir.
Okay.
Mo, sir.
Balik ta sa vertical. Lisod din ko ano, dili pareha sa Zoom ba nga. Kung sa kung gusto i-share screen, ma-share screen dayon. Kani kay kailangan pa nimo siya i-upload. Share applications. Chrome tab. Kani. Sa vertical, for total assets, ang imong 100% tira ay are assets. So, kani imong base. Mo imong base. So, cash divide total assets. That is 28.87%. Short term divide total assets at 3.60%. Kung inyo na ning analyze, mag-ingon lang mo dito nga, this shows that from the total assets of the company, 28.87% are cash, 3.60% are short-term investment, 34.24% are accounts receivable. Bali sa tibok assets ba, pila ang portion sa cash, pila ang short-term mo nang gitawag siya vertical because you will divide that one from the base pababa or pasaka. While horizontal class, imong formula ani, i-compare nimo imong base year over the current year, or i-compare nimong present, isa gani akong panana, i-compare nimong current year minus the base year. Ang difference nila, i-divide nimo diri sa base year, mo na ang changes. Okay? So again, ang ani pag-compute. Current, maglibog jud ko sa mga term. Current minus the base divide the base. Pero murag mali yung i-answer dire. So, nag-separate ko. Kailangan mo siya tama nga symbols. So, kung dili pa kayo mo mahawad mag-worksheet, tingnan lang sa mo. 91450, the current year minus the base year. I-try down ako ni siyang bot nga no close and open. Divide the base year. Oh, mga to na yung formula. Bot nga lang yung close and open kay arte kayo ang worksheet. So pasabot, there is an increase of 22.55% in cash sa 2019 compared sa 2018. Same lang na siya. Pwede niyo na siya i-grab. Diba? Ana lang kasayon ang kung mag-worksheet mo compared mag-calculate mo. So, for short-term investment, this shows that in 2019, it decreases by 24.50%. For accounts receivable, there's a positive result which increases by 26.83%. Ingana yung trabaho actually mo, analyze mo sa gibuhat sa mga CPAs, sa mga accounting. Mo na ang role ninyo as finance student. Do you have any questions?
Answer.
Or gusto ninyo answeran nato ang inyong activity para mahinay-hinayan ng inyong trabaho? Gusto ninyo? Ang inyong answer karon inyo lang i-copy para i-submit dito sa atong assignment. Gusto mo? Or matulog mo ta? Nagsabit na mo tanan pati itong preparation.
Sir, 10% na lang ko.
Yes, itong mga pwede na mo, okay lang, i-upload ba na ako?
Sige, sir. Thank you. Bye, sir.
Bye-bye. Isa pa may nabilin. So, mo itong sim, di ba? Ambot kung gitan-on ninyo, diretso na mag-answer siguro.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Answer na to isa-isa ha.
Sige, sir.
Sige, sir.
Sana po ni pag-zoom. Okay, number 1.
Finance.
Okay, so it refers to the basis of funding for specific. This is letter B, finance. A system that permits the exchange of funds
Financial system.
between lenders, investors, and borrowers and operators of national global level. So from the word system, this is financial system. Number 3, it deals with decisions that all businesses firms formulate concerning cash flows, including inflows and outflows. This is
B.
Insaman.
Managerial management.
Financial management.
Managerial management.
Material.
Dapat managerial financial, di ba?
Cash flows.
So the
Gali, sir.
closest answer would be letter B. Okay. Next, number 4, it's an area of finance that focuses on the decisions made by businesses and individuals as they choose securities over the investment portfolio.
Luman.
From the word securities, investment. This is letter B, investment. Next, it refers to functions provided by organizations that deal with the management of money.
Financial service. Financial
From the
service.
word
Managerial
functions, this is financial services.
Financial
Functions
services.
nila. It deals with decisions that all firms make concerning their cash flows, including both inflows and outflows. Same,
Managerial
managerial finance.
finance.
Next, it involves personnel decisions and employee relations, meaning katong relationship between the employers and employer. This is
Management.
Okay, one is not a financial institution. Commercial bank, this is correct. Foreign bank, this is also correct. Thrift, this is
Kaning
also
ano,
correct. Investment,
wala
so
may
the answer
bank.
is
None of the above.
none of the above. So all of
Pero
the
wala.
yes. Actually, sa next one pa na siya. Sa ULOC pa na siya makitaan, pero foreign bank is also included. Okay, so the answer here in number 8 is none of the above.
None of the above.
Okay, number 9, it is the systematic and comprehensive recording of financial transactions of a business. It deals with the process of summarizing, analyzing, reporting. This is
Accounting.
accounting. So this is the process of accounting, from summarizing to reporting.
Analyzing, reporting.
Yeah. Next, number 10. Keyword owned by one person. This is, sorry,
B.
proprietorship.
Proprietorship.
Number 11. It's a business organization that has 2 or more owners and can operate under various levels of requirements.
Partnership.
2 or more.
Partnership.
This is partnership. A
Partnership.
form of organization, a lawful body formed by the country's government. Corporation.
Corporation.
Next, it deals with a set of rules. Rules that a firm follows when conducting business. These rules provide roadmap that managers follow to pursue.
Governance.
Corporate
governance.
regulation.
Sa man dyan?
Governance. Corporate governance.
Ang sa man dyan?
Corporate
C.
regulation.
Ha?
Noon.
Corporate
C.
Letter C.
Corporate governance.
Kung ano mo.
Yes, sir. Letter C.
Okay, letter C.
C lagi, C. C.
So, for an activity 2, kamo na bahala mo, sir, Ana, ha? In a nutshell, kamo na po, Ana. Karon kanina to, try na to ni answer. So, you're almost done.
Sir, katong.
Saman.
Katong sa
Kani ka mo na yung answer, Ana,
Ang
dari
grouping
ato.
sa to.
Kani?
Billing.
Sa may groupings.
Katong gi-post ni mo, sir, sa ano?
Na
By
group
group.
Katong grouping, sir, pero wala
Group
pa siya
activity, sir. Pero wala pa siya deadline noon.
deadline.
Oh, wala ko na. Mo man eh. Kani oh, 2-year financial statements. So, inyo nabuhat na gamit to akong formula gihatag.
Ano siya?
Money siya. Money groupings. So,
Pero
unsa
ikaw
man
mag-group.
answer. Gusto na ko kamo na lang mong pili kay bas para makabalo mo sa inyong time. Kasi dili mo pareho time ba? So
Pila sa isa ka group, sir.
Sir,
tagtulo.
wala may kaila sa uban. Sir, wala ba kaila sa uban?
Pwede pa mo mag-solo kung gusto ninyo. Kay ang submission na kung set output sa group i-submit individually. For example, 3 members mo, dili man kay maghati man gud mo. For example, ako sa 1 2 3, ako sa 4 5 6, pero
Okay.
accumulate ninyo siya answer, pero dapat each member of the group na i-copy. Para pag mag-submit mo, na po may masubmit. Lain man gud kung isa lang mo submit, basig ma-disregard po na ko ang duha. So, yan lang ninyo, class. Ang gipangayo dali akay 2-year financial statements. Ayun lang na katong akong gitudlo ganina. So current ratio, that is current assets over current liability. So akong i-post karon sa ana kato akong ipang discuss og ang mga guide ninyo.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so katong formula po akong i-post sa inyo. Kindly show your answers na lang. So, any question? So, pa ba yung activity 3? Ano? Yun naman na ano onwards. So, you will see na lang ta by next meeting, maybe on Tuesday. Wala. Di ba ta mag-meet ugma? So,
Yes,
basig
sir.
sa Wednesday.
Okay, sir. Noted.
Okay. So, mag-answer na lang ta ni Be. Para masabit na ninyo unyang. Okay. Number 1. It refers to the combined term for means, methods, and system to deliver applicable data to aid decision making for the company's management. Isa man.
Financial statement analysis.
Financial statement analysis. Very good.
Okay.
It is a statement of financial position from the word position. A firm designed in a means wherein a comparative analysis is carried out to assess the various accounting transactions to evaluate the performance of a firm's action. Unsa man?
Ambot. Comparative.
Ambot.
Comparative.
Comparative.
Financial statement.
A firm designs a means wherein a comparative analysis is carried out.
So, evaluate the performance of the firm's action.
Okay. By the way, class, kaning common size, mo ni siya ang vertical. Okay? Ang
Opo.
kaning trend analysis, mo ning horizontal for your additional ano.
Vertical.
Okay, katong vertical, mo na siya ang common size. Meaning from the total assets, how much is the size of the cash, how much is the size of common size. For horizontal, that's the analysis because you compare for the performance of last year to this year. That's why trend.
Ang comparative, sir. Sa mga
So the answer would be comparative. Okay. Next, number 3. It is a statement in vertical form in which every item of the financial statement is reduced to a common base.
Sir, trend. Ay!
What is your answer?
Common size, sir. Common size.
Common size
Vertical
statement.
is common
Common size,
size.
sir. Vertical.
Common size
Letter
statement.
A.
A.
That's sir.
Common.
Okay, so this is vertical. Next, number 4. It is a statement in a vertical form where the earliest year is used as the base year. The amount of transaction the base year financials will be related in terms of percent, and the value of each item in base year will be taken as 100%.
Ay!
C.
Wrong good mo ganina. So this one is the common size or the vertical. Katong ganina, trend. Reduced to a common man. Reduced to a common.
Okay.
Okay, so this one.
Okay. Letter C.
Trend. Number 4. Di ba ang formula na to sa vertical, di ba, kuan, 100% na to ang base, o niya, i-divide lang na to siya per ano, di ba? So, man yung question, the amount of transactions in the base year financial statement will be related in terms of percent, and the value of each item in base year will be taken as 100. Mo itong gibuhat na to ganito nga, 100 ang total assets, 100 ang total liabilities, 100 po ang net sales. So, that is common size. Okay, again, common size is the vertical, trend is the horizontal.
Horizontal.
Okay. Number 5. This analysis includes computing and analyzing ratios, use information from one, two, or more financial statements, which also convey relationships between several financial statements. Ano sa yung answer?
D, sir.
Financial ratio analysis.
Financial?
D.
Ratio
D.
analysis.
Financial ratio
Okay,
analysis.
financial ratio analysis. That's correct. Number 6. This financial statement measure the fruits of your business efforts.
Income statement.
Income statement from the word measures the fruit, meaning you wanted to know the profitability, if there's a profit or loss. So the answer is income statement.
Statement.
Next, number 7. The financial statement measures the cumulative result of one's business efforts.
Balance sheet.
Okay? So the
Balance sheet. Balance sheet.
balance sheet. A financial statement provides aggregate data regarding all cash inflows, receipts from its daily operation, investment, and cash outflows. Ano man?
Cash flow, sir.
Cash flow
Cash
statement.
flow. Very good. Mudungog na ganyan mo inflow and outflow. Cash flow na lang.
Inflow.
Tapos, operating, financing, and investing. Those are cash flow. Mga activities under cash flow. Those are the inflows and outflows of the cash. Next, a financial ratio measures the ability of the business to meet its short-term maturing obligation. Ano sa ganito?
A. A.
A.
Liquidity ratio.
Liquidity. When we say short-term, that's liquidity.
Liquid, man.
Meaning,
Short.
kung nakikwarta karon liquid.
Short.
Pero kung nakay-check dira nga 6 months pa before makuha, that's not liquid. So, it's not short-term. Number 10. A financial ratio that measures management efficiency as presented in returns generated from sales and investments. Nanang word?
Profit.
Efficiency.
Profitability.
Nana?
Profitability, sir. Profitability ratio.
Wait lang. Financial
Balik
ratio.
ito, awan. Nasaan ito?
Okay, tama. Sorry class. That's profitability. Moday ni no kaning credit applicant using its resources. Mani siya ang efficiency. So disregard this one. Palis mo dali walay blackboard, no? So the answer is C. For number 11, a financial ratio which measures the degree to which balik lagi.
Dili, sir.
Credit applicant funded by the debt. Kung saan yung answer?
That to, sir. D.
Ha?
Leverage ratio. Leverage ratio. B.
Letter?
B. B. B.
Letter B. Kani using its resources, inyong answer?
D.
Efficiency. So ilang kalahian,
Efficiency.
pagka-utang gani, leverage. Pag using the resources, the efficiency. Okay, so let's check kung tama ba. Leverage, tama, by debt, profitability from the investments, efficiency using its resources. Okay, very good. At least na-correct ko ninyo, no? Kaya nag-libog ko sa mga terms. Asa na ta? Number
13.
Number 13.
13.
A financial ratio measures the adequacy of working capital.
Current ratio.
That is current ratio. Pag working capital, again, that's referring to current.
Current. Oh, okay.
Next. Katulong ko ilang. A financial ratio measures how much debt was incurred with the owner's investment.
Debt to equity ratio.
Debt to equity. From the word debt to owner's equity. So debt
Owners
to
investment.
equity. Next. A financial ratio which measures the promptness on when customers pay their credit.
Average collection period.
Very good. That's average collection period. So just copy all the answers and submit it to the Blackboard LMS for your assignment. Okay? So for group assign, sa may wala. Wala na copy.
Wala na copy, sir.
Sir, di na to mainit.
Di na ito ma-edit. Di na ba ito mabalik?
Sir, wala
Ask
pa,
na lang
sir.
yung
Gali, sir.
Actually, kung naminaw ka karon, kung mag-go back ka, ma-remember man yung mga answer. So, balikan na lang na to para to benefit. Financial ratio which measures how competent is credit applicant based on resources. This is efficiency. Funded by the debt. This is leverage. So, yung term dari debt, dari ganina kay resources. Dari sales and investments. This is profitability. Dari short-term obligations, this is liquidity. Dari na ay cash outflows and inflows, this is cash flow statement. Number 7, cumulative of result of one's business efforts.
Balance sheet.
Balance sheet. Next, the fruits of your business effort. That's
Income
statement.
Common size.
2 or more financial statements.
Letter D. Financial insurances.
Financial ratio. This one, katong 100% ni mo ang base. That's common. Common is, again, vertical. Trend is horizontal. Kung malimtan ninyo, anong ginatawag siya trend? Because you compare your base year, your current year to the previous year. So, gusto nyo mabalaan ng trend ba? For common size, vertical siya because you let your total assets, total liabilities, and net sales as 100%. And you compare it to each account title kung pila ang ilang percentage over the total assets, same as the liabilities and the sales. Next, number 3. Reduce to a common base. This is trend. Because you wanted to know how much is the increase. Next is designed wherein comparative analysis carried out to assess the various accounting transactions. Comparative financial statements. Sa taas, this refers to the combined term of means, methods, and system to deliver applicable data to aid decision making. That's financial statement analysis. Okay? So that is equivalent to 15 points. And then, studyhin taon ninyo kay basta mo gawas mo sa exam.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so any question?
Exam, sir.
Hangyo ko basig na after next week pa ta mag-exam kung kano sa mo ready. Based on yung agreement.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Asa ako? Pwede na ako mag-stop sharing, no?
Salamat, sir.
Ang pag-stop ani. Okay, kabaloan ning Blackboard nga no. Kaya nagapa-Google Meet lang ko. So stop recording ko.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How to stop sharing? Okay. So muna rin na nabilin. Si Navarro Lim. Nalagi si Hill. Ingon wala ka Hill. Montesilio. Raya Fitadla. So, I think that would be all for tonight. I've done more than 39 minutes from the expected. So, thank you so much for your cooperation and I hope na namin yung nasabtan gamay. Pero if you have any confusions, any questions about the topic, you're free to message me on the Blackboard LMS or you can message me on Facebook para matabangan ta mo sa inyo. So, don't hesitate to ask a question para pag magka-subject na mo kuan jud, at least kabalo na mo.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Salamat,
Okay,
sir.
so you may now leave. Thank you so much for joining our meeting for tonight. Bye-bye. Ingat mo tanan.
Bye, sir.